Down Team Impulse 2-0 start.
Thank you, gentlemen. That game was a little bit more one-sided, I feel. We saw a much greater lead earlier in the game for Impulse. There was a couple falters. Dignitas almost clawed their way back into it at one point. But I feel some of those, that early lead came from some of the adjustments we saw Tip make in Champion Select.
Yeah, I love the Leona, the aggressive support paired with the Elise. I said, if you're going to pick the Elise, like I didn't want to see it again, but if I was going to see it again, I'd want to see it with that aggressive support. So I like that adaptation. But the thing I really liked about TIP's play was it was a slower game, or not a slower game, but it was still a slow game for TIP's style, but they recognized that the wave clear of Dignitas' comp is pretty much non-existent. The Kassadin pretty much takes that out of the question. So every time they actually took an inhibitor and pushed the base, it was because they had gotten the Baron and they set up for it. Because they recognized it's just a skirmish comp on Dig's side. TIP has Protect the Cog. Go ahead and play around these objectives and then exploit the no wave clear.
Going into this next game, I got quite a few concerns about Dignitas. First off, the blind Kassadin. This is not a champion that you blind pick ever. This is a counter pick champion. I guess they were thinking Gate would just pick Azir or Victor, but, pick Lulu. He gets shoved in all day. He will lose the tower first, has a lot of pressure, and then Kassadin jumps into a fight. Polymorph, he's already out of the game. So, did not like that pick at all. Another concern was, they first, the Gnar into Shen. This is a matchup that Gnar has to win.
Right, and you're seeing Dignitas on your screen here as you raise some of the concerns for them. Down now, 0-2, they're looking for that reverse sweep. What do you do when you have, because you have to win this one, right? Essentially, in your heads, this is a one-game series now. It's Dignitas, you have to win this next game.
You got to win 3 in a row now. And it's clear that the Gnar versus Shen, this is a matchup where Gnar builds Black Cleaver and then just bullies Shen, takes the tower first, takes the second tower, and just pressures Shen heavily, punishes him for using the teleports in the bot lane. That did not happen. Not at all. They took the first tower down, but that's because of a Kassadin roam. Like, there was no pressure from the Gnar into Shen. He should be having a CS lead. They cannot play against Shen. They're making these plays in the bottom lane when they know there's teleport, there's Shen ultimate, and they're just completely disregarding it. You need to ban it because otherwise you're going to lose the next
Drop
game.
the Maokai ban, put the Shen right in that spot. But here's the scary thing, is this is not a normal TIP. They're warding a little bit more than they were in the regular season. They're playing around Apollo constantly. So even if you ban out this strategy, they can still go back to what they were doing before. So that's actually very scary because you've only got one game left. And if you mess it up one more time, you're out.
Sivir has been left up as well, so they can go back to that. But Dig had gone with the Braum Lucian, super aggressive bot lane. But there is no synergy there. You need the jungler in the bot side to be able to go for it. They got caught from a very overextended gank, which is super predictable, knowing Elise starts in the top side. She just makes her casual way down to the bot lane and gets a free kill, and then it just goes over and over and over. And Italy should be there. That's the most important lane for you right now, where you're putting all your eggs into, okay, we're hoping this Lucian can, snowball over the cog. Didn't happen at all.
Yeah, and when you play Nidalee, a gank could just be, I show up to the lane, it's now a 3-on-3, and I just poke you guys down and eventually take the turret. And they never did that.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing here where, as you mentioned, Tip is assuming a different play style than what is expected. Going into this week, you would have been like, oh, okay, well, they're going to try and get rushed on a super carry. Apollo will play Sivir, most likely, if it's up, and they've completely departed from that. And it seems to be throwing Dignitas for a little bit of a loop here, that they haven't really established what is going to be the winning strategy against this team that is all of a sudden playing a little bit more standard.
And it's not just something that's actually going to throw Dignitas off. If TIP make it further, they are actually showing that they flex more strategies. So Dignitas have to go, all right, let's go back to our strategy here. It's do or die. We have to run what we know how to run. You were talking about running a Hecarim top on the caster desk, I believe, and going to a strategy where Gamsu can carry, shut down the Shen, ban it, get him out of that lane, and get him affecting the map.
You got to remember, though, that Tip has been picking the Cog and Shen pretty early. Those two are flex picks all over. You can have the Kog'Maw in the mid lane, the Shen as a support, so they can just completely change it around. And one pick that has been not played at all has been the Olaf. Everybody's been practicing Olaf. Everyone's going crazy for the Olaf top. Hasn't been played. Not sure why. It does well versus Shen, does well versus Maokai, does well versus Gnar, good versus Elise, Leona, and all this kind of stuff. And if we need Gamsu to carry, I'd like to see him go to that pick.
Yeah, Kobe also mentioned up there on the desk, although it was banned in this most recent game, the TF option for Dignitas. If you are looking at, the effectiveness of the Shen, which is that he can TP twice, essentially, to a lane, and how Impact is able to out-pressure Gamsu in that arena. If you can find another global, if you can get Shifter onto that other global, let him affect the other lanes, that might be, you know, an area of attack. So given that we go back to blue for Tip and Dignitas on red, Tip didn't ban the TF in the first game. That might be available to them this time around.
I think that for Dig to win this third game, they really need to just look for the first game and what happened in this one. The second game, they misplayed the lanes. They didn't account for rush, just flat out lose lane, have poor picks, and then you can't really come back if you have no wave clear to stall the game out. So the first game, they did a much different thing. You know, you go for more late game scaling, you got a lot of team fighting potential, and you have really good pick potential with the Echo Stun, with the Alistar as well. So why not go back to that? Like, you're gonna have to do it and just go for a lane swap again. I think the lane swap was really a good thing for them, because what happens is when you create the lane swap scenario, you create usually 2 long lanes, and then everybody can shop and has an influx of wards from the gold, which allows for a lot more safe play. So if you have lane bullies after the lane swap is over, then it becomes very predictable where the junglers are going to go, and you can just maneuver your way around without really worrying about rush ganking your lane.
Dignitas has a lot to consider going into Game 3 here. Team Impulse are just 1 game away from closing out the series and securing their spot in the semifinals. We'll be right back with Game 3 in just a few minutes.
Time for Dignitas to see if they can fire back. Best of 5. Still some damage coming across. Javelin lands. There's the engage. Bunch onto Apollo. He goes down. They pick up the primary AD carry. The flash stun. They catch Helios. There's the ulti. What a beautiful pickoff. Apollo gets the kill.
Okay. Cast in.
It's okay, I'm with you.
We're fine.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They might go me.
They're going to cast in. Bye, with you.
Gate has joined the fight. Ulti knocks up a few, and 1 kill already comes through. The kill goes for Agent. Now 1 for Apollo as well. The chase down continuing a Shifter. They are 1 game away from the semifinals.